Aaron Judge, yes, the Yankees captain, is not just the captain of the Yankees anymore. He is the captain of Team USA. Yes, the World Baseball Classic starts in 2026 before the season. Aaron Judge was just named captain of Team USA. Boys, do you realize how good Aaron Judge has been this year?
Does it surprise you though? I mean, he's consistently done everything that he's needed to do, and he's embraced the role of what he is. And I think, once you do that, and as I kind of had some conversation with people about Devin Williams and how it's like it's different when you get to New York, right? Because he was in Milwaukee, but all Aaron has known is the Yankees. And so knowing that and understanding what role that is, and then having guys come in, obviously, having Soto last year, and see those things and how he handles everything and the manner in which he does, right? And, he's one of those guys, it's hard to root against. And, being able to continue to show out and be what you are is truly impressive. And I don't think he slows down anytime soon. I mean, obviously being that big and, seeing, everything that he has done so far, how long can he keep it? And that I think that's the question. He will, but when does he turn, and does he have a slow start? Because as you well know, every year when Mo would blow a save or two, oh, he's done. Like
that was the downfall for most closers. I mean, it never happened with him though.
Yeah, and there was one or two that he would blow a year, and everybody would be like, "Oh, he's done." And I'm like, "What are you guys talking about?" And I remember one specific time he lost back-to-back to the Tigers on a homer from Miguel Cabrera and Victor Martinez in back-to-back days, and everybody's like, "Oh, he's finished." And then I think he ended up pitching 5 more years, other than the year that he blew his knee out shagging fly balls in Kansas City.
That's why the Tigers players started scouting you out to sign.
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
Well, for me, I remember late in Mo's career, people thought he was done. And what did he do? He actually started throwing. I mean, you tell me, Java, but it looked like he started throwing a little bit of a 4-seamer and trying to dot it a little bit low in the zone, as opposed to.
Oh, then he started throwing a 2-seamer.
It was a 2-seamer, but he was trying to throw. One of them was going to be lower in the zone than he was normally going. So he would try to change the eye level a little bit more because he couldn't get away. I don't think the velocity on the cutter was the same. So he had to mix it up, and he was smart enough to figure it out, and still be effective for another bunch of years, better than any closer anyone's ever seen, But let's get back to Judge. I got to give you some stats on Judge. So if you go to his 62 home run season in 2022, he had now WRC plus. Speedy, what does WRC plus stand for? Do you know?
It is a win replacement. I think it's with the league average parks. Is that the right one?
Yeah. It's basically runs per plate appearance scaled where 100 is average. So if you have 100, you're an average player in the league. If you're under 100, below average, a little bit over 100, above average. If you're getting in the 150s, you're a great player. If you're in the 170s, you're one of the best players in the world. That's generally how it is. In Judge's 62 home run season, he had a 206 WRC. Not surprising. That's one of the best seasons that I can remember. Except last year, he was even better.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought he was.
Last year, with the 58 home runs, he had a 218 WRC plus. Guess what it is right now at the beginning of this season?
229.
241.
Wow.
Judge is putting up numbers that Babe Ruth didn't put up right now.
He's still not leading the team in home runs.
And he's also not leading the team right now in barrels per plate appearance either. That goes to Ben Rice, 16.7.
Well, hold off on Ben Rice. We will talk about him soon.
Homers goes to Errol's favorite player in Jazz Chisholm.
Jazzy, right?
Yep.
As he likes to call Chisholm.
Jazz is one of those guys that is a new age player, and it's not surprising Errol doesn't like him. Look, Java, you made a really funny point, I thought, on the last show, where some guys are really, show off, and Errol thinks that's great about him. And some guys don't and think that's great about him. And then sometimes that guys do. He likes him, they don't. So what is it? What type of guy does Errol like? And he doesn't like Jazz. So let me try to figure what it is about Jazz. Jazz celebrates a little harder than most people celebrate every time he hits a home run. He does a Euro step to home plate like he's like Dwayne Wade or something. He has this little look up to the sky. He's real slow coming around third. I forget exactly what he does, but he does like a little stutter step. He's real fancy about it. He plays better defense than what we got from Glaber last year, doesn't he? He has more pop, doesn't he?
And it goes to kind of the new age of baseball, where no guys struck out 200 times. Now, if you strike out 200 times but you hit 35 bombs, nobody cares.
And get on base.
And you get on base. I mean, and just look at Mark Reynolds. He stayed around for how long, but he hit you 25 to 30 every year. And he just, I think Jazz has a personality that fits.
Joba,
because
I don't know if you've heard this story before. They were saying it about Adam Dunn. He was the original analytic dream.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I mean, there's other guys. I mean, you think about Chris Davis. I mean, he had the 1 year where he hit 50. He took me deep on a changeup, like one of the 10 I threw in my career. But yeah, I mean, there's so many guys like that. I mean, look at what Schwarber did. He got on base, but hit like 210, but still hit 35.
You know who that reminds me of? And it's going back a little bit. It's one of your friends, Joba. After, he had those big average seasons in the first year of the Yankees and with the A's, Jason Giambi was like, he was just going to work at bats and he was going to have a really good on base, but he was only going to hit about 220, 230 at best at that point in his career. Like he would throw
knuckleballs back to us from first base. It pissed me off because I'm trying to be locked in, and sometimes they'd be really good, and sometimes you're like, oh, you try to get out of the way because you're like, is this going to go straight? Is it going to hit me? But one of my dearest friends to this day, and just an absolute, his eye at the plate, I wouldn't say it was good as Bond's, but it was damn close. And it was just amazing how he knew the strike zone. And I obviously got to know him really well. And I would talk to hitters because those are guys that are trying to get out. I'll talk sequences, with pitchers. But just watching him and like the approach that they have, and I think that's a little bit lost art in the game. We there's a few guys that have it. Do we get back to that a little bit, or do we just kind of and we've seen what Judge has done. He gets on base, he grinds at bats, and not only can he beat you with the homer if you make a mistake, but he can double you to death too.
Right.
And I think that's just it's what he does. He's not one-dimensional at the plate, I don't think, because he'll take a walk.
I don't think he ever was. He just had a problem with that one slider sweeping outside that the Houston exposed them with.
Yeah, once he stopped, in the playoffs, it's harder, obviously, to lay off pitches out of the zone when you're not getting pitched all that, not that favorably. But when he has that, he's going like this. It's where do you throw the ball? Where do you throw the ball to this guy? If you fall behind in the count, 2-0. What's the right move?
Yeah.
Because this guy's going to hit everything. It reminds me almost of Bonds back in those days where once he got to 2-0, they were just going to give him 4 balls and just walk him every single time. Because there's no point in trying to go up against that.
We haven't seen that with Aaron Judge, but maybe it'll come when he walks with the bases loaded.
I was just going to say, there's one point they're like, you know what, you're not beating us. We'll take 1 instead of 3 or 4. Go take your base. That's when you actually had to throw 4 balls instead of just saying, hey, you're going to first.
How do you feel about that, Joba, by the way?
I don't like it because I've actually seen games won and lost on wild pitches on pitch outs. Like, I'll never forget. We literally at the end of your bullpen, my whole career, you always threw 2 to each side. You always just did. Well, and then if you remember when Miguel Cabrera was younger, they tried to do it. They lobbed it in.
I remember that.
Yeah.
With the Marlins.
And he was like, yeah, I'll take that.
And 100%. there's things like that happen. I just like, okay, we're just going to give you a base. Like, I still need to execute a pitch whether I'm giving you them or not. That's one thing too I hate about when you get these umpire scores, because they get credit for a foul ball as a called strike. So that doesn't go against. Yes, it's
That
true.
makes I guess that makes sense, but I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, but it goes on their record. But yeah, it's I don't like. I mean, there's a lot of things that I don't. I like some of the changes. I don't like some of them. But it's an ever evolving game, as all of them are. There's very few that have stayed the same. I mean, obviously they haven't decreased the mound or whatever, but they've done the height, they've done all that stuff. I mean, it's just something I. But when it comes back to Judge, I don't care what you do to him. He's gonna be a great player. I mean, he's only 32 years old, and just to see how he's matured as a hitter and as a leader in so many ways, it's incredible to see. And just the type of person he is. And I didn't get to know him very well, but everybody that I've talked to is just they rave about him, just being a great person, and treating everybody with respect. And there's a lot of people that can hate on it. They do that to anybody, whether you're good or bad. Like Errol hates Jazz because it's like, what he has some flair, he has that. Everybody hated me for fist bumps because nobody ever did it.
That's true. I remember loving you for doing that, and it being a thing. I guess this is what, 16, 17 years ago now, a little bit more than that. Game was different, the culture was different. And today, like you're saying, the stuff that Jazz is doing right now, can you imagine if anyone tried to do that back when you were playing, when you were a rookie?
Oh, no. I said something, I even said this on Foul Territory with AJ Przinsky. I got yelled at because he hit a ball to center field when we were in, at this point, I think it was called Guaranteed Rate. I think it's gone through like 5 different names when I played. And he hit a ball to the fence, and he was like, I almost got you. I go, you didn't, so go sit your ass down. And then I got yelled at for doing it. And then Goose Gossage came out when I fist pumped and was like, that's not the Yankee way. Mickey Rivers was jumping on the bullpen cart when you were coming to games sometimes. You're telling me? But then I will say the one thing, Old Stadium, I had a Frank Thomas poster. Why? I have no idea. I just thought it was cool, probably. And I faced him towards the end of his career when he was with the Blue Jays. And we're coming up the stairs at the Old Stadium, and I punched him out, and I fist pumped because I'm like, I stared at this dude in my room above my dresser for how many years? I don't even know. And he is a large human being. And I get this arm around me, right? And I'm like, oh no. And I was afraid to look. And then I look, and he literally just looks at me and goes, hey, kid, keep doing what you're doing. It's certain things like that where you have moments, and we talked about that last week. And, just being able to have those things and, go about your business. And when you're able to get, I guess, affirmation, I don't know if that's the right word, but, just to know that the emotion is a good thing. I'm not trying to show. If you wanted a bat flip and do whatever, I need to make a better pitch. I don't care. You're not hurting my feelings. But don't get mad when I do that. I mean, right. There are so many times, literally, where they top stepped me when I was in Boston. And they didn't like me in Boston very much anyways, which is fine. I don't care.
Was any Yankee players really liked in Boston?
Joba sucks. Oh, he doesn't throw a wicked head slider the way that we like it over here in Boston.